Inside a luxury boutique, the air is suddenly cut by a voice laced with contempt. A wealthy, arrogant white woman points at an elderly black woman who has just entered and shouts that she doesn't belong in a place like that. Customers turn their heads, some murmur, but no one dares to speak. The attack is direct, cruel, humiliating. The older woman, dressed with sober elegance, doesn't respond, just holds her gaze with unsettling calm. While the insult resonates in every corner of the store, no one imagines that behind that silence lies a truth capable of changing everything. What would you do if you saw someone being treated with contempt in public? The older woman enters the boutique with calm steps. Her bearing conveys dignity, her voice is gentle, and her manners impeccable. She is wearing a simple but elegant dress accompanied by a discreet handbag. She only wants to buy a special gift, nothing more. The place glitters with glass walls and lights that make each garment sparkle. A temple for the wealthy where luxury rules the rule. The employees, trained to serve only those with power and money, smile stiffly as they calculate who deserves their attention. Between the aisles, a wealthy white woman, dressed extravagantly and laden with jewelry, flaunts her every move, convinced that this space belongs to her exclusive world. Around her, the wealthier customers mark the hierarchy with superior glances. Anyone who doesn't fit in is ignored. The elderly woman, however, stops in front of the shelves, calmly examines the pieces, and offers kind words to the staff, though she receives little in return. Some salespeople look at her with disdain, silently sizing her up, certain that she's not someone important. They don't know that beneath that serene appearance lurks a truth that will soon shatter the false security of everyone present. The wealthy woman takes a step forward and breaks the silence with a mocking laugh. Her eyes bore into the elderly woman, and in a loud voice so everyone can hear her, she unleashes the first insult. He asks her if she's lost, if she's mistaken the boutique for another place more suited to her simple clothes. The words crack like a whip in the air, drawing awkward smiles from some employees. One of them even nods, seeking to please the wealthy customer. The old woman stands firm. She doesn't respond with anger or shame. Her hands remain calm and her lips are closed, but her gaze hides a restrained strength, the calm of someone who doesn't need to raise her voice to command respect. Each insult falls like an unfair weight on the scene, and yet she doesn't break. The wealthy woman persists, mocking her age, her style and her presence in a space she claims is reserved for the elite. Nearby customers watch, some uncomfortably, but no one intervenes. The silence of the rest turns the mockery into a public spectacle, an attack that hurts because it reveals the worst of arrogance. The tension mounts, the injustice becomes unbearable. The audience feels the rage, the helplessness of seeing a woman treated as if she were worthless just because of her appearance. And yet the old woman remains serene, as if she knows something the others don't. The question hangs in the air. What will happen when they discover who the woman they've scorned really is? The rich woman, confident that no one would stop her, began to grow bolder. She moved brazenly, standing in front of the shelves just as the old woman tried to look at an item. With each movement, she seemed to mark her territory, as if the luxury of that place belonged solely to her. The employees, although sensing her discomfort, remained motionless. The fear of upsetting a customer who spent thousands on each visit paralyzed them. Her silence was complicit, and the nervous murmuring barely hid her discomfort. The old woman, however, showed no anger. She didn't raise her voice, nor did she lower herself to the same level. She observed silently, with a calmness that contrasted with the other's arrogance. Her eyes, serene but steady, revealed a restrained strength, as if she were waiting for the right moment to reveal it. As the wealthy woman continued with her show, the old woman scanned the place. She lingered on certain details: a lamp in the corner, a framed painting, even the arrangement of the display cases. It was as if every corner of the luxurious space seemed familiar to her, as if she knew more about the place than anyone there could imagine. The arrogant woman's tone rose another notch. Crossing her arms with a smile laced with contempt, she uttered a phrase that made several customers look up, shocked by the cruelty. People like you couldn't even afford a scarf here. The air grew heavier. The audience, which until then had been indifferent, began to feel that something was about to break. The old woman remained silent, and that stillness was beginning to be more unsettling than any response. Everything indicated that a change was approaching, one that no one in that store was prepared to witness. The humiliation reached its peak when the wealthy woman, in an authoritative voice, called the employees and ordered them to remove the old woman from the store. Her tone left no room for doubt. She was convinced this place was only for people like her. A tense silence fell over the room. The workers' footsteps echoed on the shiny floor as they approached, but none of them seemed confident enough to act. Their faces showed doubt, as if something inside them warned them that this situation wasn't as simple as it seemed. The old woman, far from showing fear, remained steadfast. She didn't try to defend herself or raise her voice. Instead, she gently raised her gaze, and in a calm but weighty tone, uttered a question that cut through the air like a knife. "Are you sure this is the decision you want to make?" Her words weren't a shout, but they made even the most distracted customers turn around and listen. The woman's calm confidence contrasted sharply with the wealthy customer's mocking disdain. The wealthy woman burst into laughter, convinced she had won. Her laughter echoed through the luxurious salon as she crossed her arms triumphantly. She believed she had reduced the old woman to nothingness, that she had expelled her from her exclusive world. The shoppers began to whisper among themselves. Some looked away, uncomfortable with what they were witnessing, while others watched with a mixture of curiosity and morbid curiosity, enjoying the spectacle as if it were unexpected entertainment. The tension was growing, but beneath that surface of arrogance, something more powerful was brewing. Because in the end, the question floating in everyone's mind was unavoidable. How long can arrogance hide the truth that is about to come to light? Amidst the awkward murmuring and arrogant laughter of the wealthy woman, the store manager appeared clearly confused by the commotion. Her gaze shifted from the uncertain employees to the customer demanding the elderly woman's removal. With absolute calm, the elderly woman reached into her purse and pulled out an elegant card, which she handed directly to the manager. The man took it, and upon reading the name embossed in gold letters, his face completely transformed. The color drained from his cheeks, and his eyes widened in disbelief. An icy silence fell over the place. The employees, who seconds before had been hesitating between obeying the arrogant customer or remaining motionless, froze in their positions. They knew perfectly well what that name meant. She was not only the owner of that boutique, but of the entire luxury chain that bore that emblem. The wealthy woman, seeing the manager's reaction, took a step back. Her confidence crumbled like a sandcastle, and for the first time in the entire scene, her voice cracked. Her face turned pale, and her hands, previously firm on her waist, began to tremble. Around her, details seemed to underline the revealed truth. The brand's enormous advertisements, featuring pedigree dogs alongside models in evening gowns, were no longer mere decorations. They represented the power of that woman. Even the security personnel, until then discreet, looked at her with respect and nodded firmly, recognizing the true owner. The atmosphere changed in an instant. The tension that dominated the room turned to awe. The shoppers' murmurs transformed into a reverent silence. Everyone understood, in a single stroke of reality, that the humiliated person was actually the most powerful figure in that room. The weight of the revelation crushed the wealthy woman, while the audience felt the electricity of an inevitable shift. The scales had completely shifted. Silence reigned in the boutique, everyone holding their breath as the older woman stepped forward. She didn't raise her voice, but each word came out with a firmness that cut through the air. She looked at the employees and calmly said that in her store, no customer should be judged by their clothes, their age, or their appearance, because the true essence of luxury was respect. Her words, spoken without shouting, carried more weight than any gesture of arrogance. The workers lowered their heads, aware of what they had allowed moments before. The wealthy woman tried to stammer an apology, clumsy and desperate, but it was too late. The owner calmly raised her hand and ordered the security personnel to escort her out. There was no violence, no shouting. Only the silent humiliation of being exposed before everyone. Every step she took toward the door was a fall into her own abyss, built on the arrogance she had displayed from the beginning. The shoppers watched in amazement, some with a faint smile of satisfaction. Justice isn't always meted out with shouts or physical punishment. Sometimes the greatest defeat is being forced to face the mirror of one's own arrogance. The wealthy woman, who minutes before had reigned in that space with contempt and arrogance, emerged defeated, unable to erase the traces of shame from her face. The old woman, on the other hand, stood tall, radiating serene authority, as if everything had been under her control from the beginning. The moment was more than justice. It was a living lesson. True wealth lies not in money or ostentation, but in dignity and in the way we treat others. And in that room, everyone understood that arrogance always takes its toll. Calm returned to the boutique as if nothing had happened, but everyone knew something had changed forever. The employees, still in shock, served each customer with newfound respect, aware of the lesson they had witnessed. The older woman walked toward the exit, with the same elegance with which she had entered, leaving behind a silent strength that no one would forget. The message was clear. Dignity and respect are always worth more than money or arrogance. True greatness is not measured in luxuries, but in the way we treat others. Justice had been served, but one question remains. If you had been the owner, would you have forgiven the arrogant woman or banned her forever?